Hello everybody, this is Freddy from Turn Vertical, and today's video is all about your CTR and why it's irrelevant. I think it's a very hot topic, so be prepared to hopefully be open to learn something new. I'm really going in depth to try to explain to you why your CTR is irrelevant, and I would say let's get right into it. So first things first, before we kind of talk about why your CTR is irrelevant, we first of all need to understand why people think it's relevant. And obviously the hypothesis is, a higher CTR leads to more clicks, and more clicks lead to more purchases. And this is only true if every impression / click is worth the same. If a click to your website, boom, is always, basically of the same user quality. And if this is true or not, I'm going to prove that to you in this video, because in my opinion, it's not true at all. And this would, we live in an optimized CPM environment if we talk about Facebook advertising. And that means basically ads are optimized for your marketing goal. And that means not every impression is worth the same. Facebook is happy if users like the ad and users convert from the ad, right? Then Facebook is happy, and then Facebook basically gives you your ideal CPM and a good bid in the auction, right? Not every impression is worth the same, because, for example, let's say out of 100 people, maybe 10 have Googled something related to your product before, or maybe they've looked on Facebook and Facebook knows that, and then 10 they've somewhat looked at your product in the past, and maybe they've even been to your website, and then there are people who've never heard of your product. Obviously, the people who've either Googled for a similar product, or the people who've been to your website, who've shown interest in your product, are worth more to you, worth more for you to reach, because they have a higher chance of converting, right? They're not all kind of in the same, if you want to talk about funnels, in the same funnel stage. Some people are unaware, copywriting stuff, unaware of the product, then there are people who are aware of that they have a product, people who are aware of the solution, etc., etc. Basically, obviously, to reach a person who's unaware of your product and unaware that they even have a problem, it's going to be cheaper to reach than a person who is aware of the problem and who's aware of that your product might be the solution. Maybe you are, selling outdoor shoes, and somebody wants to go hiking, and there are like 10 different companies who are selling outdoor shoes. And the person who is actively looking for outdoor shoes is obviously, worth more, and therefore more expensive to reach than a person who, plans on going hiking in, let's say, 4 months, right? And then just started, they are watching hiking videos on YouTube. And Facebook, for some reason, knows that. Maybe they've watched hiking videos on Facebook. Facebook knows that. But they are somewhat relevant, but they're not nearly as relevant as a person who's actively looking for hiking shoes. So that impression is worth more to you. That click is worth more to you because they have a higher chance of converting. So we have to understand that. That basically means not every impression is worth the same. And then we can kind of say, I'm going to prove that even more in just a second, but then we can kind of say that every click is worth the same. It's worth the same because not everybody has an equal chance of converting, or has an equal, is an equal stage in the funnel of converting. And that, leads me kind of to the bid. Your bid is an impression. You bid on an impression within Facebook and compete with other advertisers, right? If there's Tom, and Tom is ready to buy hiking shoes, and you are a hiking company, you can be sure that there are other hiking companies that want to bid on Tom, because they want to get Tom to click on their ad, because Tom has a 99% chance of converting, because he is going hiking in 1 week and he needs hiking shoes. So the first ad he sees, he's going to click on it and buy, boom. And obviously you want to win that auction, because you want to get your ad to be shown to Tom, and that is one impression. Your ad is being shown to Tom is one impression. And basically how the algorithm works, or how the bid works, is budget times estimated action rate times advertiser score / ad score. So basically each advertiser has its own score. Page feedback score, for example. Did your credit card ever decline? Another example. And your ad has its own score, but that's kind of derived from the EAR. EAR is estimated action rate. How likely is somebody to do an action? From seeing it in action, obviously, I would say the best action is making a purchase. But EAR also stands for, did they like your page? Did they like your post? Did they engage with your post? Did they stop scrolling? Did they look at the comments? Did they engage with the comments? Did they watch the video? All of these are data points, for Facebook to show that there's some interest in this ad from a person. And the more relevant the ad to your audience is, the higher the estimated action rate, and therefore kind of the cheaper your bid is, because if you have a better estimated action rate, you get a cheaper bid in the system, and therefore it's cheaper for you to reach the person, and therefore you get cheaper CPAs in the end. And this kind of leads me to, I'm going to give you a real life example just a bit as well, to 6 reasons essentially why your CTR is relevant. First of all, CTR is just an equation. It's just clicks divided by impressions, right? The more clicks and the more impressions, the more clicks you get in the same impressions, the higher the CTR. But this does not mean that every impression is worth the same, because they are certainly not. Number 3, you can't directly control your CTR. You can't just say, let's optimize for CTR, because you don't know how to really improve your CTR. Maybe you have some ideas, maybe, our call to action is weak, we should improve our call to action. Does this mean that you're getting cheaper CPA or better CTR? Definitely not. Then number 4, you should only care about CPA, not CTR, right? If you have like a 0.1% CTR, but like a $10 CPA, and then you have like a $3 CTR, but like a $15 CPA. Do you care about that CTR? Are you happy when you get a good CTR? No. If you're in the agency game, do you go to client? We got a 5% CTR today. Clients being like, what's the CPA? Oh yeah, it went up. Like, who the fuck cares about CTR if you have a high CPA? Then again, this kind of go hand in hand. Just went over this. Would you rather have a $10 click with a 25% conversion rate, or a $0.1 click with a 0.0% conversion rate? Obviously, I would have the first, $10 click with a 25% conversion rate. Then higher CPMs tend to lead to a higher CTR. For example, let's say 1% lookalike has a higher CPM, but also tends to have a higher CTR because the people in there are more interested in your ads because they are a lookalike of your customers, for example. Same goes for retargeting. Retargeting ads tend to have a high CPM because the ads are more relevant to them, and therefore they also have a higher, they have a super small audience size. That's why they're more important or more expensive to reach. But they have a higher CTR because they are obviously more interested in your product, and then somebody who's never seen your product before. And then again, I would much rather pay $10 to reach a person who's 50% likely to convert than pay, $1 to to reach a person who's like 5% likely to convert, 4% likely to convert. Then this equation is right. So I'm going to give you 2 real life examples from 2 different ad accounts as well. So this first example, we have this ad which had a 0.31% conversion rate, outbound conversion rate. Keep that in mind. It's all outbound. And the CPC is $2.56. The ROAS on this one, or the CPA on this one, is $64. And then we have this one, which has a 4.5% conversion rate, 37 cent link click, and we have a $152 CPA. So this CPA is almost $100 higher than in this instance. Same for this one. Here we have like 19 cent CPC, 2% outbound CTR, super cheap CPMs, boom, 59 CPA. In this instance, $14 higher CPM, lower CTR, higher CPC, but like $15 lower CPA. Like, the only thing you should care about is CPA. And the way where kind of CTR maybe matters. For example, let's say you have a winning ad, and then you want to add an element to increase that CTR. So basically, if you look on one ad that's performing and you want to increase that, then it might be worth looking at CTR and be like, okay, how can I improve the CTR of this ad? But still, that does not mean that you can improve the CPA. A better question would still be to ask, how can I decrease the CPA? Maybe it's by having a better landing page. Maybe by having a better landing page, you get a bit better CPA, and because you get a better CPA, you get a better CTR. That's like the backwards equation. Like, your number one priority should almost never be CTR. Same for CPM, like CPC. Like, as you can see, CPC doesn't matter, and they all don't matter because we live in an optimized CPM environment, which is basically your CPM depends on your bid, and this depends on your EAR and advertiser score, and whether somebody likes your ad and whether somebody converts from your ad, and then Facebook is happy. First of all, that's why CPM is different. For example, again, the smaller the audience, also the more expensive the CPMs are. That's why number one, it doesn't matter because we have an optimized CPM environment. Not every impression / click is worth the same. And then, if your CPMs don't really matter, then your CPC doesn't matter. And if your CPC does not really matter, then because not every click is worth the same, then your CTR doesn't matter. Right? I hope I explained this in a good manner. Let me know if you learned something from this. Basically, I'm saying focus on your CPA. If your CPA is out of order, also you go down the funnel, right? Let's say with this ad, I would be like, okay, I would analyze this, what's the stop rate, hold rate, etc., and like try to find a better thing for this ad to get it to work. But this seems to be like a mismatch between ad and landing page, because this is not a clickbaity ad, right? This is one of my own accounts. I'm still not quite sure why this ad had such a high CTR, but such a low conversion rate. But in this instance, for example, it might be, how can I maybe, improve the conversion rate from this ad? And it might be by adding like a heading, like this was an image, like this one on top was an image, and it might be adding some text to the image, and then maybe the CTR goes down because there's some text and it doesn't look as native anymore to the platform or whatever. But then maybe people convert. So I'd be happy with having a lower conversion rate, higher CPC, but if more people convert. So that's how you get to play the game. And would you rather have a high CTR or a high conversion rate ad? Now, clickbait content gets you a high CTR but low conversion rate. This leads to higher CPMs over time because ad is a liability to the system. You always have to think what's best for the user experience, right? And high converting ads lead to a lower CPMs over time because the ad is good for the ecosystem and Facebook likes the ad, right? Summarization. Facebook's system controls the user journey, knows exactly who is ready to buy and who isn't. Not every impression is worth equally or worth the same. You care about the CPA, not the CTR. You can control the CTR, CPM, CPC by creating a better user experience and optimizing for that, right? That's basically the summarization of this video. And I hope I explained why the CTR is not really relevant in terms of not every click is worth the same. And because of it's always important that you have to understand this optimized CPM environment that we live in. And the CPM is not fixed. The CPM basically is different for every person that you reach. Like every person that sees your ad has a different CPM essentially. And that's what an optimized CPM is. On Google, it's just CPM because shown on the top thing on the Google search is always costing you, let's say, $30. Because Google doesn't really know what stage on the funnel you're at, etc., etc. Facebook knows that, and that is why every impression is not worth the same. So I hope you enjoyed this little video about that.